Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Big Discussions 76 Sports. My name is Dr. Anwar Youssef Dunbar. If you're new, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. And if you want to support the channel um, financially or um, by signing up for my newsletter, that information is below in the description box. But I want to jump right in and talk about Michigan's 41-17 victory over Penn State. The game just concluded up in Ann Arbor. And for my subscribers, you know that I wasn't even sure that I was going to get to watch the game as I'm doing this. I'm making this reaction video from Placinia Village in Belize in Central America. So let's jump in. So number 5, Michigan just defeated number 10, Penn State. I think a lot of folks thought this would be a real clash of the Titans, but it ended up being a lopsided Michigan victory. Michigan was picked to win this game by 7 points, and they won 41-17. I was thinking back to Penn State and Sean Clifford's last visit to the Big House, and that was during that fateful, unfortunate 2020 season. We had instability at the quarterback position, and Sean Clifford spent most of the day beating up on Vincent Gray and Don Brown's defense. So anyway, the Wolverines won the game decisively. The first half was pretty tight. The Wolverines were able to move the ball pretty much at will on the ground. Emphasis on the ground. And they were able to move the ball down the field into the red zone numerous times. For the most part, though, those trips ended in field goals. Unfortunately, there was one Blake Corum touchdown, and so the Wolverines could have put up multiple touchdowns, but they got down there and they came away with field goals for the most part. Penn State couldn't get much going on offense themselves in that first half. And I think the big play was the Sean Clifford run fake. I also noticed that JJ missed a couple of wide receiver screens. I think he threw one ball too high to Roman Wilson, and then he threw one too low to Ronnie Bell. So there were a couple of missed opportunities there. There was a pick six by Penn State in that first half at 4 minutes and 22 seconds. JJ, it looked like he forced the ball in there, and it got tipped up, and the Penn State defender caught it and ran it back into the end zone. And at halftime, the score was 16-14. But again, based upon the way Michigan was moving the ball at will down the field, that the score, the difference should have been much larger. And once again, Penn State, the only thing they were able to get going was that Sean Clifford run, which led to a touchdown, and then that pick six by their defense. In the second half, Michigan pulled away. Donovan Edwards scored a touchdown with 11 minutes and 12 seconds to go in the third quarter. Ronnie Bell converted on, he scored on the 2-point conversion. DJ Turner dropped what could have been a pick six for our defense with 10 minutes and 35 seconds to go in that third quarter. The Michigan defense held on a key fourth down play by Penn State. Sean Clifford threw a fade route to their wide receiver, and the wide receiver, it was there in his hands, but it just slipped through. So that got them off the field. Blake Corum scored immediately on the next offensive possession at 7 minutes and 23 seconds in the third quarter. And then the defense held the rest of the way. And I think that was pretty much it. Sean Clifford went into the medical tent, and their second string quarterback came in. Donovan Edwards scored another touchdown at 5 minutes and 5 seconds. I want to take a quick look at the statistics, and then I'm going to wrap this reaction up. Let's see. So I'm going to go over to ESPN, and I think this one of the things we were all looking for, the Fox Sports staff and even us as the Michigan fan base. We were looking to see if this was going to be the breakout game for JJ McCarthy. And interestingly, it was the running game. It was the offensive line and the running game that, for the most part, carried the offense. So the question up to this point, I think, has been, what is Michigan's identity? What kind of team do we have? What is this team on offense? And I think the answer is clear. We are a running team. We have a solid offensive line that has and that can impose itself and impose its will on the front sevens of our opponents, at least the ones we've played up to this point. And we've got two speedy, shifty running backs back there who can get the yardage for us on the ground, whether it's starting to play inside and then bouncing it out, or even running into the pile and just keeping their legs moving and moving the pile. So I think that's our identity right now. Now the question is, when a capable defense neutralizes our offensive line and neutralizes those two running backs, can JJ McCarthy put the offense on his shoulders and throw the ball down the field with a high level of effectiveness? We don't know at this point. We just don't know. We've seen a lot of wide receiver screens. We've seen throws to the tight ends. We've seen some throws to the running backs. We didn't really see any shots down the field today. So what are we gonna do when a capable defense shuts the running game down, if that's possible? Maybe our offensive line and our running backs are just that dominant. Both quarterbacks played a mediocre game. Sean Clifford went 7 for 19 for 120 yards and no touchdowns. JJ McCarthy went 17 for 24 for 145 yards and no touchdowns and 1 interception. Sean Clifford had the big run. He carried the ball 6 times for 74 yards. Donovan Edwards and Blake Corum were effectively a 1-2 punch on the ground for us. Donovan carried the ball 16 times for 173 yards and 2 touchdowns. His long was 67 yards. Blake Corum carried the ball 28 times for 166 yards and 2 touchdowns. And his longest run was 61 yards. I'm just going to focus on our offensive stats at this point. And it was pretty much a balanced effort in terms of balls caught. Cornelius Johnson led our wide receivers in yardage with 43 yards. Ronnie Bell was next up with 39 yards, and Roman Wilson was next up with 29 yards, and Donovan Edwards was next up with 21 yards. So it was a pretty quiet day for our skill position players. None of them got into the end zone. Let's see. There were some fumbles. There were 2 fumbles, but our offense recovered them. Our defense did not intercept the ball. Penn State's Curtis Jacobs, he got the pick 6 on JJ, which was from a tipped ball where the commentators made the case that JJ should have just thrown that one away. I'm going to go over to our overall team statistics, and I'm going to wrap up there. So Penn State's defense, I think our running game, our offensive line, and our running backs pretty much had their way. The difference was definitely the rushing yards. In terms of penalties, Michigan had 9 penalties for 61 yards. Penn State had 5 for 55. And the time of possession, this again goes back to the dominance of our offensive line and the production by Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards, Michigan dominated the time of possession with 41 minutes and 56 seconds of holding the ball or possessing the ball, and Penn State only possessed the ball for 18 minutes and 4 seconds. So there we are, everyone. So yeah, so JJ, once again, in summary for us, JJ went 17 for 24 for 145 yards, 1 interception, and Donovan Edwards carried the ball for 16 he carried the ball 16 times for 173 yards. Cornelius Johnson caught 3 balls for 43 yards. So there we are. So Michigan is still undefeated. We're now 7-0 and 4-0 in the Big Ten. And now the question is, as the schedule goes on, we're a running team. But in a game where the opposing defense can neutralize our running attack, can JJ and the skill position players complement that running game and make the defense pay? And that's on the offensive side. I thought the defense played really well. Obviously, the game changes the further up you go. So they were really able to. Sean Clifford is a veteran and savvy and a mobile quarterback. So he was able to. Our defensive players were able to get back there and get close to him. They had problems wrapping him up and bringing him down. I think that's a testament to his experience and his mobility. But there was a key play that where Jesse Minter called a play where our defense, I think they overloaded the left side, and it looked kind of weird because the right side was vacated. And it was that play. I think that was the first play where they were able to get back there and sack Sean Clifford. So I think the defense played well. I think as the game went on and as Michigan got more separation, the defense, they were able to get back there and bother Sean Clifford and Penn State's backup. But they did have some problems getting to him. But that's a testament to his experience and his mobility. So I think, yeah, I think overall they played well. I don't have many criticisms for them. It'll be interesting to hear what Johnny Olden and Vance Bedford have to say about the defense. But I thought that they played really well today. Jake Moody hit on all of his field goals, and I think early on we needed that. So I think it was a good win. There are still questions about the passing game. And I think that against a stronger opponent, I'm thinking about Ohio State early on in the game, with that many trips into the red zone, field goals are not going to cut it. Like, you're going to have to get in there and get in the end zone, I think, to keep up with a team like Ohio State, who is still favored to win the Big Ten East. Though, as they described in the closing seconds of this game, Ohio State certainly has to be looking at how we're running the ball, because that's how we beat them last year. So as we get closer and closer to Thanksgiving weekend down at the Horseshoe, I think they're going to be looking at how we're running the ball and whether or not we will be able to have some sort of balance on offense. I think that's going to dictate how Michigan fares down at the Horseshoe. But there are games left before then to be played, so there are plenty of games to start to tune that up. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. Were you happy with this win? Were you disappointed with this win? Are you a little bit afraid with the production from our passing game today? And do you think this is what we're going to have when we go down to Columbus? Let me know what you think in the comments section below. So once again, please like, share, and subscribe if you want to support the channel in the ways that I've described. I'm going to wrap this up. Everyone, stay safe out there. Go blue. And as always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Take care, and I will talk to you the next time. Bye-bye.